Welcome to the show, and here are your hosts, the diabolical Elite Gaming Guru, the illustrious Red Dead Panda, and the Australian stud Ashtray Gaming. So let's get this party started. Shit.
And we are live.
Good morning, everybody.
Kia ora, good morning. Sorry, clear my throat.
Welcome to the Gaming Initiative podcast with your hosts, Ashtray Gaming and Red Dead Panda. Elite couldn't be here today. He's too busy plucking his pubes to then get them sewn into his nose. It's weird, I know, it's kind of strange, but he wanted longer nose hairs.
He also told me that if he had any left over, he was going to get them, make his eyebrows look pretty on fleek. Yeah.
Oh, I just do what I did last week and have mine shaved and tattooed on, apparently.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Sounds good to me.
Indeed. So how have you been, Red? You good? What have you been playing?
I am good. We talked about this before the show. Serena has not been playing anything. I haven't been playing anything. Oh, I did play a bit of some more sorry. I've been playing this little fee game, which is on Game Pass, and I've been playing some Deathloop, but I've really got to play some Slime Rancher. I saw you were playing that last week. Is that a good game?
Yeah, I played quite a bit of Slime Rancher this week, actually, or last week, since it dropped. It's very similar to the first one, definitely same sort of graphic style, bigger world. There's lots to do. It's not fully unlocked. A lot of the game is unlocked and open, but there's still quadrants or areas that we're still going to go through. And I still think it's going to be quite a lot bigger than what it is now. So, because I feel like I've only kind of made it halfway, if that, with unlocks and even seeing newer slimes. There's a few new slimes in there already, but not as many as I was expecting. So, but that's been good fun. There's no achievements because it's in game preview. And I think it's going to be in game preview for like another, I think it's like 18 months or something.
Okay, well, I'm not going to play it until there are achievements,
Yeah. Look, I don't know if they're going to unlock retrospectively or whatever you call it.
With Sea of Thieves and like Grounded?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So look, hopefully it does, because I have put quite a few hours in it, but I've been playing Proteus. We call it Produce. Shout out to Boba, by the way, in the chat. Shout out to Pico Trek. Elite popped by quickly, Smithy Smith, and hopefully more file in soon. Fuck you, nice to see you. I've also been playing Fortnite as usual. I always jump in that. So, but that's about it. Not too many games, but I definitely think give Proteus a go.
Okay.
It's like a bit of a Doom clone. Make sure you go in. We work this out later. Boba and I work this out later. As you go into the settings, make sure you change it from, it was like 320p to native, and then a few other tweaks. Turn some special, LSS and I don't know, all the other stuff on to make it look better.
Okay.
And then it actually plays really, really well. Quite fun. I've got it on sort of easy.
Yep.
And yeah.
I mean, I've seen quite a bit of people, I've seen quite a bit of gameplay online about it at the moment, so I am kind of intrigued by it, so I might give it a look. But shout out, like you said, to everyone, hello, fuck you in the chat, and like Boba Fett and everyone else who's Smitty Smith, who shows up every week. It's so nice that you guys come and join us. Yes, no Elite this week. We told him he's too much of a fraud, and that's why he had to get his pubic hair plucked and put into his nose, and also threaded into his eyebrows. We need to show you a before and after photo. It's going to be great.
So it's just so everyone gets a good visual. It's like one strand, really long.
Yeah.
That's connected to his nose and his eyebrows.
Yeah.
So it goes.
Yeah, it's going to look good. It's going to look so good. But just for everyone, like every week, I say this at least once when I'm actually on the show. So I have a busy life sometimes. Rubbish, just done and dusted, out of the way, all done for the podcast. I can leave now. But yeah. We do have Ham Solo joining us shortly. He's just finishing up another show that he is on. The time differences seem to screw with everyone, and so it's 10 o'clock or just after 10 my time in the morning, and then it's like 7, just after 7 on your time, and you're about to go into daylight saving time as well. And then so I got a bit of a sleep in this morning. It was great.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I know. I got so much done. But yeah. All right.
There we go. Well,
Sorry.
which one would you like to lead off on? We have the SEGA, or if you want to jump into the
We've got
other
Netflix
one
or the
that you
Sackboy
this
one?
Sackboy one. That's probably a pretty quick one.
We'll do the Sackboy one, eh?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Eh?
All right.
All right.
Do you want me to lead that off, or do you want to lead
Yeah,
it off?
sure. You can go for it.
Okay, well, it's not a big thing, but if you aren't aware, Sackboy has now been announced for PC, and it's coming out on October 27th. So originally, PlayStation exclusive. It's one of those other narratives, the narrative that never seems to stop being destroyed every single month or week. Anytime that there is a PlayStation exclusive, you now need to prepare for it to come to PC. Just a reality, just a fact, and there are still people aren't so salty about this one, but there is still a little bit of salt out there online. I just thought that this was quite interesting, like the support coming in here. So it's going to support DLSS 2. It's going to have like 4K with the target of 120 FPS, but it's not supporting FSR at the moment for PC. And I mean, if you're on PC, you're also going to get access to, not having to pay for your saves. Whereas on PlayStation, you do have to pay for your saves. Interesting. On Xbox, you don't. So, well, yeah, just wanting to point it out, for the payers. But I'm actually kind of happy. I like Sackboy, and I think the more people who get to play this, the better off it is. What are your thoughts on this? Are you completely surprised by another game coming to PC?
Of course not. I've played the original games on the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, and they were good fun. Sackboy is obviously just sort of a newer version of that on the PlayStation 5. It's a good franchise. I think that PC gamers that haven't played it because it's been on PlayStation will really enjoy it, and I think it'll sell quite well. Yeah. Especially since there's PCs, there's going to be heaps of people playing it. They like a diverse type of game, so to add this to the mix, it will do very well. Look, the graphics wise and things like that, it'll still look good without the DLSS or whatever it is, but it's still going to look like a nice game. If it can run on a PS5, it can run on a PC, no problem.
Yep.
But I just think more people get to enjoy it.
That SSD though.
Yeah, the magic thing that makes the graphics better.
Yeah. It definitely
SSD, huh?
Definitely helps with the graphics. It also helps, put this what's it called? Rose-colored glasses over fanboys' eyes. Definitely does that. But yeah. Also, every single narrative that they've had has been destroyed. So, that's what the SSD does. Destroys narratives.
Indeed it does.
Yeah.
Very quickly, too.
Yep. Cures cancer.
Oh, damn. Oh, wow.
We're not toxic at all, guys. We're just trolling the hell out of people who just don't understand technology or reality in this situation. Indeed.
But no, it's a good thing that's coming to PC. They need the sales behind their games anyway, and more people get to enjoy them. So it's nothing but a good thing.
Was this cross-platform? I can't remember. Does anyone know in the chat if this was cross-platform? I mean, cross-gen, not platform. Sorry, it is now cross-platform. But was it cross-gen or was this a PS5 only game? I can't remember.
Actually, that's a great question. I think it's only PS5.
Because it had the cards, right?
Otherwise, I would have picked it up for my PS4 Slim.
Another game that could only be built to play on the PS5.
Yeah, probably.
Stop being toxic, Ashtray.
yeah, Ashtray, stop it. I don't know. I think it's probably about time we switch gears. SEGA has announced its first blockchain game. This will be the first SEGA title to use the controversial technology. Now, it's a bit of a clickbait title.
Yep, it is a clickbait
SEGA is involved by lending their IP to another business to then use this technology with that IP. I'm not good at pronouncing Japanese names, but it's like Sangho Kushi Taizen.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's a real-time strategy game It's mainly played in the arcade, so I don't know if it'll even come to console anyway.
Yeah.
In the first place. But
Probably not.
basically, they think that they're going to be using the blockchain to essentially just store data to, what cards the player owns. And so, if it's as long as it's used in that kind of way as they're sort of suggesting, as opposed to using it for any, malicious
Monetization.
reasons or that kind of stuff, then I'm all for it. I mean, if it works, like I kind of think I understand how it works, and I'm sure someone will correct me and say I'm completely wrong. But if it does sort of work like a ledger, keeping note of information that can't be changed, wouldn't blockchains, and this is kind of going off the side here a little bit, but still, I want to put this question out there: wouldn't blockchains be good to say who owns a game, for example, so that if you buy a game on disc and you put that game in, record like a blockchain for that, so that you could take the disc out and not have to use the disc. It knows you own it until I don't know, you delete it off, or it's renders the disc unusable, or something. I don't know. But anyway, wouldn't that be able to track something?
Changing gears that way, if you think about that, like it might be a way that they choose to do like trading of games online.
Yeah.
Because like blockchain, if you're not aware, it's like basically sorry. You have the idea where you can generally it's like free to play games, and you can like trade your content to other players in the game and so on and so forth, and like buy content, trade it, sell it, whatever. But there's usually a fee to do that, and that's where they're making that monetization, or the company or the publisher or the studios making that money while you take advantage of the system. So I guess like you could have that in theory with buying an electronic game, and then you say you don't want it anymore, you could sell it to someone else, and then with that idea around ownership, you could say like you no longer own this game because you've traded it and you've got rid of it. And I guess that side of it would actually be quite ideal for people who aren't so invested in the digital side of things, because of the fact that once you own it, and you can't sell it on again or anything like that. So there might be in reality in the future something that comes along those lines. But I mean, the idea of like NFTs and like cryptos in game, and we're already kind of there, and I feel like this is just the start, and we're going to see a lot more games implementing this. I'm not for it. I'm not happy about this at all. I would rather this wasn't a thing. But the reality of the situation is this is where things are going. And I mean, the only way to kind of change that is to kind of put our foot down and be like, no, we don't really want this, because they're not non-fungible tokens and all of that fun stuff around that blockchain technology. And yeah, I don't know. It's just not really my idea of what gaming should be. I'm still kind of the mindset around video games is like, you buy a game, and everything that you buy for that game should be like everything that you need for that game should be available, accessible, because you paid full price for it, right? If you're not paying full price, it's a different story. But when you're paying full price for a game, you should be able to access and get everything on there. I mean, with DLCs, I understand it, because there's stuff that they weren't able to put in the game initially, and they maybe due to scope they were holding it, they couldn't launch it, so they worked on it after the fact and put a lot of effort into it, and then you pay for that and you get access to that, but everything is available because you paid for the DLC. But yeah, I'm not overly impressed with the idea of this seeping further and further into my idea of gaming. Like, if I wanted to game like this, I would play on mobile, and I would pay all those little lovely microtransactions that all the mobile games have that I can't stand either. Yeah, I guess I'm getting a bit jaded by how we kind of get all of our money stolen away from us through gaming. Like, it is an expensive hobby, and it does feel like it's getting to the point where any way that they can rob us blind, they're going to. Is that, maybe I'm just being real jaded and negative in that respect. What are your thoughts?
Well, only if you let them do it.
Yeah, I'm not letting them do it. But...
Yeah, it's not often that I'll let that thing happen. I don't really buy microtransactions. It's very, very rare if I do. I think if it's DLC for a game, like especially a game that I know I've already put several hundred hours in, I'll do it, because I'm wanting to continue that experience,
Yeah.
and that's that is a way of getting people to buy more content. But if I know I'm going to get my money's worth, then I'll do that. But
Yeah.
when it's like for a skin or something like that, I can't really justify it because it's not going to make me play any better. It's just going to make me look different. I just think that the way the whole blockchain and the NFTs and stuff has come about is people just try to jump on this tech real quick,
Yeah.
and they kind of made it sort of what's the word? They've kind of made it scummy.
Yeah.
So no one really trusts it because people have done some dodgy things with it,
Yep.
selling a picture. Like, come on, who's dumb enough to buy a picture? Anyway, we won't get into that. But
Well, I mean,
it's the case of how it's been used. But if these businesses can actually use it in a positive way that actually works well for the industry and the gamers, like saving their data or ownership or something like that, and not being used in an underhanded way, then I'm all for it, as long as it's just not to try and take money from you.
there's definitely different ways to use the technology that is better suited to not robbing people blind and giving gamers a better experience overall. I agree with you there.
For sure.
I love in the chat, I cannot wait for SSD powered NFTs. That is so good. And also, Sackboy was a PS4 game. Interesting. Just had less features, like visual features missing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to have a look for that. See if I can maybe go pick it up then. Interesting.
Boba's saying, let me introduce you to 2K23. I've put $70 in already on top of the cost of the title. Oh, really? So you paid
Chump.
full price
Chump.
for that title, and then you've pumped another $70 into that.
Ask him how much he spent on Fortnite.
Fortnite. Okay. All right. Just to expose yourself as a real gamer, Boba. How much have you spent on Fortnite?
Go on, let us know.
Let us know. Let us know. And so,
Oh, well, look, anyway, each their own, I guess. But it's interesting, Sega name is attached just because of that IP. And
it doesn't bode
and
well
then
for Sega, though, when you see that name attached. That made me go, what are you doing, Sega? Like, I was really annoyed.
well, if sort of we're trying to piece together the next acquisition for Xbox, and it's just interesting of the few things that have been going on over the last couple of years with Sega and their relationship with Xbox, and just the fact that they sold off their gambling arm, last year or whenever it was. And I don't know, we're just thinking if they're going to have a stronger relationship in terms of an acquisition or just works more side by side with each other, doing this sort of stuff might not be sort of looked upon favorably from Xbox's side. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Well, in saying that, do you have any ideas about the rumor for who Xbox might be looking at in Japan as an acquisition? I think they're going to be looking at a multitude of companies, but yeah.
I don't know. Look, everyone wants Bandai Namco, Sega, and Square Enix.
I definitely don't want Square Enix. Nope, thank you. They have been complete and utter to Xbox gamers, so they can just disappear.
Yeah, but that would be a nice FU back to the PlayStation guys, though, as well.
You are right. You are right. It would be a nice one. Yeah.
Look, Square Enix have made some pretty good games, though, so I'm kind of more on that side, whereas a lot of other people are Bandai Namco, and I'm like, for me personally, not so much. So it's all preference at this point, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's all preference to what we all like to play.
Yeah, I'm Capcom fan. Like, I am looking forward to Dragon's Dogma 2. Like, I love Dragon's Dogma 1, and I really can't wait to see what they do with the sequel. Yeah. And I think for me, like, the idea of Xbox just always doubling down on their narratives around saying, like, we're going to invest more into gaming, we're going to do this and this and this, and they're clearly doing it. And then they're also saying, like, we are wanting to go further into Japan and kind of support them and encourage these gamers to know that we're providing games that they like to play on a system that is also cheaper than any other system over there at the moment. I think they're making the right moves, and they've really kind of shown what their intention is they're here to stay, and they fumbled last gen big time, but they're not going to. Sorry.
We're all
Apologies,
suffering
guys.
from colds at the moment, so
Yeah, my throat's a little
It's
bit
that time of
unhappy about
season.
it. Yeah, and I think it's just nice that they have kind of doubled down on their stuff and said, yeah, this is what we plan to do. And it's a lot more transparent, and I appreciate transparency. Again, there's heaps of things that we're not aware of, but yeah, I'm just happy. Happy to be an Xbox gamer and a PC gamer, and happy to game on Nintendo. Yeah.
indeed. When's the last time you played a game on Nintendo?
Probably about 2 weeks ago, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that?
It would have been Mario Kart, because I love Mario Kart.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, man.
A fantastic game.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm trying to get all the 3 stars on every single CC rating. So I'm just trying to get through the 150 CCs at the moment. Then I've got the 200 CCs to do. Yeah.
There you go. Well, everyone, thanks for watching the show or listening to it live. You're listening and watching the Gamers Initiative podcast with myself, Ashtray Gaming, and Red Dead Panda. Elite isn't with us today. He's getting his pubes sewn into his nose and eyebrows.
And it's not going to be a long show, guys, which is kind of nice because we've had a couple of weeks of really long shows. And there's not a great deal of topics today this week. There's not been, I'd say, a lot happening. So we're trying to hold on to some of those topics so that when Ham gets here, because this will be the first time he's guested and I've actually been here on the show, which will be nice
And he's
for
late.
once. He's late. It's okay. Time difference and all that. That's all right. Well, do you want to talk about the next one or Netflix?
Well, the next topic is Netflix. Now, obviously, they've been in the news off and on over the last few years, saying that they're going to get heavy into gaming, and they're the one of the ones to look out for and all that kind of stuff. You had Stadia, Google, you've got Netflix, there's Amazon. So Netflix has always been mentioned as a part of that sort of big three, and they plan to launch their own video game studio. So they own one or two already.
Yep.
But this one's a little interesting because it seems to be mobile.
Yeah.
And there's not really much talk or mention about it being console driven.
Yeah.
Which sort of is interesting from the fact that because it doesn't sound like they're going to have a console, right?
Nope.
It'd just have to be a part of a streaming service, so it would have to be on a cloud base
It's
anyway.
kind of like Amazon Prime at the moment, where they've got the Amazon Gaming built into there.
Oh, and Apple's the other one that's doing theirs, but they're again more sort of that mobile market. They must all see a big push to mobile. Whereas, I don't know. I'm still Xbox console gamer, so I don't really look at the mobile space much at all. But they're obviously seeing that there's going to be huge growth there. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just thought it was quite interesting to see that they're going to be building a studio from the ground up. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be on the line of mobile gaming, but Netflix is starting to dip their toes into this area. There is a lot of money to be made in the gaming industry, whether that is on the mobile market or the console market or streaming itself. And they've got the streaming technology that they use and such. So we'll see how that, I guess, translates into bigger scoped games and so on and so forth. But I was just kind of impressed that they're willing to take that leap and look at building a studio from the ground up, because Xbox has done that with the initiative, and it's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's probably the cheaper option for them to do anyway. They probably just need to get a small team together and just start
a small game,
small
scope,
yeah,
and build it up from there. And I think that's the right thing to do. And I kind of wish that Xbox had done that a little bit with the initiative. They had all these massive things that they wanted to do, but slowly that studio is going to build itself out and into what it needs to be. But at the moment, scope-wise, not really where it should be. Hence, they were getting support from Crystal Dynamics with their game. But yeah, I wish there was a bit more information about whether or not the game was going to be mobile gaming specific or not, because so it's going to be based in Helsinki in Finland, this little studio, and it's going to be led by former Zynga and EA executive Marco. I can't say his last name. I'm just not even going to attempt. I don't like butchering people's names. One of the biggest things. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts in the chat around Netflix launching its own video game studio? Do you think like we need this, not need it? Do you guys even care? There wasn't a lot of news this week, so I was scraping the barrel for things that were kind of interesting that I wanted to talk about. I don't care what Astro wants to talk about. It's all about me, guys. As you know, I love to talk a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you could talk underwater. We know this.
Talk underwater.
Yeah. And still breathe and everything. I don't know how you do it, but you do. But hey, look, it makes sense that they focus on the mobile market because the Netflix app is everywhere. It's on TV and it's on mobile phones, right? And
everywhere.
Tablets and all that kind of shit,
console.
right? So you can, right? So you could just load it up, and you know how many people do they have subscribed? It's like
260 million or something 290,
something like that, right?
I don't know, something ridiculous. I'm going to Google this now.
Yeah, have a see how many are currently subscribed, but it makes sense because then you could be at the airport, you could watch a video through Netflix, and then decide to go, oh, you know what? Actually, I wouldn't mind playing that, mobile game. So they just flick over, just change it over, and then they start playing there and then. But the difference is they can stream TV shows and movies, but can they stream gaming? Gaming's different because there's an input there. As opposed to just clicking play and watching it and sitting back and watching it, you actually have to interact with it. So when you press A to jump, you got to jump, and there's going to be latency between that.
Yep.
I don't know if they've gotten to that point, and that's why I think they might stick to mobile games because they're going to be that little bit easier to deal with. It's just usually just a tap on the screen to move an icon in a different way, or around the screen.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're playing something that's more built for a console or PC, there's a lot more involvement there, and there's a lot more movement. You're going to be shooting, jumping, and running at the same time, and you've got the full screen doing that, and it's a lot more complicated, so there's going to be more latency, and I don't think they're at that point yet. I don't think anyone really is at that point.
No, you're right.
For that kind of thing. So I think they're going to stick to mobile market, at least in the, foreseeable future. No one's even heard of them having a controller or anything like that. So, I mean, that people would most likely either have to use existing peripherals. Wow. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Sassy.
But yeah, so I just think they will stick to mobile market. Everyone's seen how Apple's done it with their store. They've got a captive audience. They've made billions of dollars out of it, and people want a piece of that pie.
Well,
Netflix has a captive audience of how many?
220 million.
220 million subscribers to watch Netflix.
150 million on Disney Plus. That's insane.
Yeah, there you go. So getting into a gaming game, I don't know, what are some of the biggest mobile games out there? You got Bejeweled, right?
Candy Crush.
Which Xbox will have. Is it Bejeweled or Candy Crush?
Candy
that
Crush.
Xbox yeah, right.
Crush, yeah.
So those ones, there's a ton of them anyway, and it just makes sense that they're small games and they usually have microtransactions in them to, usually to pay to get rid of ads, and that's how they do it. You just pay a one-time off and off you go. So that's what I think anyway. I don't think they're going to get into first-person shooters and open world games and stuff like that. Not for a long time, at least.
Is correct. The best mobile game is Twitter. Yes, I must admit.
Number one on the ponies.
Yeah. That's all they play. Black Mirror. Why are we talking about Black Mirror? Has an interactive show or two multiple endings. Pretty cool. Yes, Black Mirror. Very cool. There was another game on
big
Netflix,
latency from input choice.
It was more of a sort of like a interactive style of like learning game type thing that's on Netflix. and you can learn about some different facts and different things, but you can like try and pick an answer on it. So they already kind of are delving into that. And it's very much the beginning of what they're delving into. But yeah, Infinite Umbra in the chat. Hello, welcome as per usual. Yeah. Sorry, my throat really hates me today, guys. Just very niggly at the moment. It's like I've got like a tickle, and I can feel it, and I'm just like, ugh, stop it. Just don't do this to me.
It's a change of season, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Isn't helping.
Change of time as well, because we lost an hour this week, and so definitely felt that on when I went back to work this week. Not enjoying it. But for those of you who are watching episode 72, the Gamers Initiative podcast, I can't believe we're at episode 72 already. That is insane. Yeah.
When did I jump on? Around 40 something?
I have no idea, actually. No idea when you jumped on, to be honest. Yeah.
I guessed it on a few episodes, and then I sort of started being a regular or part of the panel, I think around February?
I don't know. I can't
around
remember.
there somewhere. So
It would have been right around the time, just before Daylight Savings finished. Because you came into the 7 a.m. start time, you're like, ah.
Yeah, because I had a few weeks of 8 a.m., which was perfect for me. And I didn't think at the time that it would be a 7 a.m. start on a Saturday.
Yep.
I don't sleep in anyway, so it doesn't really matter. That's all good. But anyway, 8 a.m. will be a little bit nicer, though. So,
yeah.
And Elite's not with us today.
Yeah.
We kicked him off his own show.
Yep.
We've taken over.
Yep.
He's never coming back.
Exactly.
We're going to move the show over to Red's channel.
Yep.
And we'll block Elite.
Yep.
So I suggest you guys do the same thing.
Yeah. Very fraudulent. After he told us what he was doing with his pubic hair, we were like, definitely never allowed back on another show with us ever again. Oh, poor Elite.
That's funny.
No,
That's funny.
He's still recovering from COVID, and so he's not really well enough to be on the show. Because he's incoherent most weeks. So imagine him with COVID.
Exactly. Now you're watching some footage of Deathloop. I played a little bit of that as well, actually. What are your first impressions, Red?
Once I put it into the 120 FPS mode, and once I kind of adjusted my sensitivity, it's not actually a bad game. It's nice and fluid. I still am figuring things out. Like, I'm really early into the game. And good morning, C-Roll40. Happy Saturday morning. My sister in the chat. And yeah, so we shall see. And then I get killed by a turret in a moment. Yeah, dead by a turret. Yeah, it's so sad. So sad. Oh.
That's because you didn't override it with the tool that's in your left hand.
I learned I didn't realize it was a turret, and that's why I was like dumb. But yeah, I'm actually enjoying it. I would like to spend a little bit more time playing it. It's not a bad game, and I'm still trying to figure stuff out with it because I'm so early into the game. Yeah.
Yeah, well, once you override those turrets, they'll shoot the enemy. So if you can sort of get them to come near that turret, then you don't have to do anything. Yeah, it just takes care of it. Boba says in the chat, "Bring back the static image."
Are you saying my gameplay is that bad?
I don't know. I don't.
Do you want...
Possibly, but I don't think it's that. I think it's the fact that you guys had a static image for like a year.
Yeah, that's true.
Before.
That is because of my inability to actually do certain things because, I like get distracted and I get focused on other things and I forget to do what I need to do. Yeah. So you kind of just make me not be lazy, Ashtray. There you go. Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. Oh, shit. Anyway.
The static image is fine. I can make a new static image if you want, Boba. We'll just do it interchangeably every second week. Put the static image up for you. Yeah, my gameplay is that bad. I'm so sorry. It's not
Yes,
great.
but I think at least we have gameplay, which is good.
Yeah.
You need your viewers and the guys out there to actually I mean, look, we know that a lot of people watch on a mobile device and they'll probably not even look at it. They'll just listen. But there are those people that do like to watch at the same time, and you got to have something for them, even if it's dodgy gameplay.
I did want to put some footage up of Elite's OnlyFans channel, but I thought that might not be appropriate on YouTube. So, yeah, I decided not to. Yeah. It was him and his feet.
Yuck.
Yeah, I haven't watched it because, I tend to projectile vomit at that stuff, but you guys might enjoy the content. Ooh,
yeah, no. Don't wish that upon anybody at all. All right, well, I think we'll have to move on to the next topic, unless you've been living under a rock, which I'm sure Boba usually does.
I live under a rock. What are you talking about? It is so comfortable and cold, and it's just damp and all the fun stuff.
Moist.
Yeah,
yep.
Moist. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. The suspected Grand Theft Auto 6 hacker is set for court, charged with computer misuse, breaching bail conditions. It sounds pretty light, honestly, to me.
Was he
Wouldn't
on
you?
Bail already?
Extortion and shit like that.
Wait,
Wouldn't
breaching
that be
bail conditions? Was he already on bail and breached it by hacking?
Well, yeah. So he's a part of a hacking group that they do this as a thing over in the UK. He's apparently 17 years old, so he probably can't get. I don't know what the laws are over in the UK, but he probably can't get tried as an adult yet. So that's why, he's not been arrested per se. But he's been, 2 counts of breaching bail conditions and 2 counts of computer misuse. Computer misuse makes that sound like, you put a friggin' coffee mug on top instead of using a coaster first or something like that. You know what I mean? Where's the extortion? Didn't they ask for money? Didn't they leak? I don't know. There should be more than just 2.
I mean, considering
things.
How much of an impact for them and such. Hey, they were, to be honest, they were just pointing out some flaws in their security system.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I feel
and that's
like...
why they demanded money?
Yeah, ransomware, yeah. Well, it was, they were doing it free of charge. And so they realized that there was so much content that they were like, actually, we're going to charge you for it now. So they were just charging their services. No. I think kudos to them actually getting this guy and like arresting him in the sense and gonna go to court and such. Because I bet GTA wouldn't. I mean, why is my throat hate me?
Well, while you clear your throat, his previous charges were for hacking or breaching both Microsoft and Samsung earlier this year. So he's targeting, or him and his team, his group are charging
bigger companies.
Large companies. And I don't know how much of a breach the Microsoft. Does anyone remember that? I actually don't remember that. So I'm sure someone in the chat will remember what that breach was.
Yeah, does anyone remember
earlier this year? But to be able to get that amount of information, including apparently the source code, is pretty big. Because that's the source code is the heart.
Just a breach into the Exchange server. It looked like maybe. Wait, was there another breach? I'm so confused. Can't be bothered. Can't bother looking into it.
Okay, fair enough.
But I mean, if I was Rockstar, you would have been, and you've been working so hard on this game, and you're wanting to keep it all under wraps. You would be very much pissed off and devastated by this hack, and the fact that it was ransomware back to you. That's just, if this happened to the company I worked at, I would be so pissed off, is to put it lightly. And so kudos that he is being held accountable in regards to this. It is important that this stuff is taken very seriously. But, just sorry.
It's a pretty sketchy world doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, they're obviously very clever, very smart individuals that know coding and source stuff and all that kind of shit, right? But at the same time, right, on the other side of the coin, the authorities, whether it's police or government agencies, more so probably government agencies than anything, do the same thing back, so they can track you and stuff. So even though these guys can move their IPs around and they can do all sorts of sort of processes and things to sort of help block or change their footprint there.
Yeah.
These guys are also in hackers per se, and they can then do the same thing back and follow them and actually see where things originate from. And so, I mean, although you might be really good at hacking, there's going to be someone to counter that on the good side that'll track you and trace you and figure out where you are. And I mean, clearly they find out where these guys were. So you've got to have some real gusto to be able to do this kind of thing, knowing that there's a huge chance, a good chance that you're going to get caught.
I mean, back in March 2022, like, he got arrested for the first time, and it's from that occasion this guy got those bail conditions. And at the time, his father's like, he's going to try and stop his child from going on computers. Great job. Just want to point that out. Great job. You did such a good job that he's breached bail conditions, and he's now in more trouble than he was before. They probably went very light on him as being a first offence. It's now a second offence. But you are right. There are people in the industry who are there to kind of counter that as countermeasures and so on and so forth. Sorry, I really have a niggly throat, and I do apologize. I have to keep clearing it. So just, bear with me a little bit. But,
But this is a case of people with talent using their skills for bad.
They should be
imagine if
working
these
on
guys,
the other side.
well, imagine if they used those skills to create something. They could be million or billionaires if they actually, worked to actually making something positive.
Yeah.
Whether it's a program or a system or an anti-hacking tool or something, and they could benefit off it. So I mean, it's just kind
Stop
of like
the fucking
wasting
computer
the
hackers on like
well,
COD.
it's just wasting the talent, man.
All of them, because that just.
I just hacked this stream.
Oh shit!
Hello. Welcome.
We're about to end the show.
No, we're not. We've got one more topic to go. But
You stop it.
It's been a quick, short show because there's only two of us, and we don't have a hell of a lot of topics today.
yeah.
Ooh,
So we
maybe
did
I
save
can
the
throw
best
you a
for
couple
last.
topics then.
Yeah, we saved
All
the
right, well-
best for last.
We were just talking
What
about...
have you talked about?
What have we talked about? We've talked about...
why Elite's not here? You want to tell him, Astray?
Okay, well, if you haven't heard, Elite's getting surgery done. He's taking his really, really long pubic hairs and he's getting them sewn into his nose and then into his eyebrows.
Yeah.
It's really weird procedure, but he thinks it looks really cool.
Yeah.
This is a joke?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Thank God.
He's off sick due to COVID.
I was going to say, fuck's sakes. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is bad.
I don't think we'd be doing a podcast with him if he actually was doing that. I'd be like, I'm reprioritizing our friendship, Elite.
Man, I was wondering what you guys are supporting over here.
Thank you so much, Han, for joining us. And this is the first time that you're on as a guest, and I'm actually here for once. So it's really nice to have you on while I'm here, so we can get your point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, I really apologize for being late. I have my show that I do bullshitting every Friday from 3 to 5 Central United States time. But like I mean, shameless plug, my bad. But anyways,
Okay.
but I didn't know that because I thought that this started like literally right after my podcast, but you guys had said something about daylight savings for you.
Oh, for me, yeah. So it's usually 9 a.m. my time, but it's now 10 a.m. my time. But Ashtray's time hasn't changed yet, and Elite's time hasn't changed yet. So mine's the only time that has changed for this week. Ashtray's
next
changes
week it'll
next
change.
week. And I don't know when Elite's changes either. But, fun with 3 different time zones.
Yeah, exciting. Well, anyways, I'm happy to hear. Let's do the damn thing.
Okay.
All right, well, just quickly, we covered off the Sackboy Adventures coming to PC.
Yep.
We then covered on.
Do you want to put your 2 cents in on any of these topics? Please feel free.
Yep,
Continue,
let us
Ashley.
know.
I'll put my 2 cents in on that one right now.
Go for it.
Duh. That's my 2 cents.
Awesome.
Duh. Like I don't know what these people are anticipating with PlayStation within the future. They've announced that they're going to bring games to PC, but somehow people are still like
Crying about it.
confused once it happens, and it's just like, dude, like what's wrong with you? But anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Nice. Well, we agree with you.
Yeah,
100%.
100%.
The next topic was SEGA announces its first blockchain and game in development. Now, it's not really SEGA. I mean, it's their IP, but it's actually another company that is going to use that IP and then utilize blockchain in that game, most likely to track who owns what cards, because it's an RTS that is generally played at Japanese arcades. So I don't even think it's going to be a console game. Don't even think it's going to come to console. So,
Is it terrible for me to say I'm excited for that?
no, not at all.
Not at
But I'd
all.
like to know why.
I'm not because I'm not excited for maybe the reasons you think I'm excited for. I'm excited just because all of this, bad blockchain, bad NFT, bad. Like, I want to see it in action.
You want to see what?
Yep.
I want to see it. I don't really want to participate in it. I just want to see it.
Do you want to see it like burn itself to the ground? Because I would love to see that happen.
Possibly. It wouldn't bother me either way. If it flourished, I'd be like, well, it's not my money. If it sucks, I'll be like, all right, well, it's not my money. Like, it doesn't bother me either way. So, like, all the complaining, I'm just like, like maybe if something like that hit like Halo or, or like, I don't know, like a God of War or something, which I just don't see it doing. But like, then maybe I'd take more interest in it and actually like have an opinion. But as of right now, I'm grabbing my popcorn, getting a couple sodas because I like my different flavors, and I'm just gonna sit back and watch.
Enjoy the show.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll be right back, Astro, if you wanted to continue going through the stuff with Ham of what we've gone through. Or you've muted.
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
Sure. So the next one was the Netflix. Netflix plans to launch its own video game studio. As you delve into that a little bit further, it's really just a mobile game. So it's they're going to start their own studio in Helsinki, I think it was, and they're going to start making some mobile games. What are your thoughts on that?
Is it cloud or is it downloadable?
Good question. It doesn't actually say. I'm going to assume that it's cloud because Netflix is on TVs, majority of, obviously mobile devices, but I reckon it's going to be streaming. That would be my guess.
Either way, they're doing better than Stadia. I mean, my whole thought process is like, you gotta do more than one thing and have it tie together if you're gonna do any kind of cloud gaming stuff. So like when I look at like xCloud, it's like, okay, well that makes sense because you also have Game Pass, you have Xbox, like consoles at people's homes. So it's not like the main dish. It's just like it's just like a side, essentially, right? Compared to where Stadia was like, that was the main dish. And then the actual food on the plate wasn't that appetizing, but it was the main dish. So, I mean, it kind of fell apart. And they didn't utilize like Google Points or anything within Stadia. So it was just kind of like, it felt like Google, Drive, Gmail, and like YouTube and all these other things were all together, and Stadia was like the bastard child.
Yeah.
That was just not there. Nobody cared about it. Nobody was really there to help it grow. It just kind of just kind of had a life of its own.
Mm.
So with this Netflix thing, I'm kind of like I'm not interested to get into it, but I'm interested to see where it goes
Yeah.
because they do have something that ties next to it. They have the streaming of television shows and stuff like that. So they already have a little like this is essentially like a new baby for them. Like welcome to the family. Let's see what we can do kind of thing. To where Stadia was like just immediately felt like an adopted child. It didn't know where the hell to go.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of direction over there at Google. We'll get into that topic later. I think they're going to stick to mobile games, is what I said before.
Yeah.
I don't think they can build out huge open world games or FPSs yet. I think they've got to take the baby steps to do that. And if it's just going to be streaming, I think that trying to jump in head first to do something as big as a console game would ruin them. It would be a waste of time. So I think they're going to focus on the mobile market. They've, like I said before, they've seen Apple's made a lot of money through mobile games through their store, and it's a growing market. So I mean, that's why Microsoft's also getting into it as well. So they can see the potential there, and that it connects all those gamers. So how many is it 230 million subscribers to Netflix?
220. Yeah.
Right?
220.
220?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people. You've already got a captive audience. They're already subscribing to watch movies and TV shows. You, like you said, Ham, you bolt on the opportunity to play some games, just some small titles, and you start to then develop that as well. And it diversifies the portfolio. So instead of just having TVs and movies, then you got games. And then who else knows what they bolt onto that later on?
Right.
Could be anything. Who knows? But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, why not? Everyone should give these things a go if they can. If you have any more thoughts, let me know. But the next topic that we were talking about when you jumped in was the GTA 6 hacker and the fact that he's 17 years old and he had to appear in court. This is his second offense for hacking in a year.
Mm-hmm. Like Microsoft, I think he is like hacking before or something like that with like a group.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. He's a part of a group that hack big companies. The charges seem to be fairly light, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
Of what he's been charged with. They're just basically saying misuse of a computer and breaching bail conditions. Where I said before that if I'm pretty sure they tried to sell the code for $100,000 or something like that. Like that's a charge in itself, isn't it?
Mm.
You would think. So yeah. I don't
know.
know how much you've kept up on that topic, but
I'm
we'll just
a little
discuss it for
bit.
that.
So I know that he pled guilty to breaching Rockstar and everything like that, and he pled not guilty to the misuse of a computer, which is like the one part that like confuses me because in my eyes, and I was talking about this on another podcast, I was like, in my eyes, how do you define misusing a computer? Because I mean, a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people have memories of misusing a computer.
Yeah.
like if you ever had like BearShare, LimeWire, Morpheus, Napster, wouldn't you technically say that's misusing your computer? Now, but if we're looking at it in the sense of a computer is made to download software, or a computer is made to do the thing that I did, but what I did was illegal, sure, the breach part makes sense, but then the misuse part doesn't. So it's just like and you know how flimsy lawyers are.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just interesting on how they're gonna do their spins, twists, and flips to try to make this guy innocent.
Yeah.
But I'm just not sure what the context really is behind the misuse of computers. Because I mean, back in the day, if we're talking about like downloading stuff and stuff like that's a misuse, then I misused the fuck out of my computer.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah, that's probably a real gray area. Although I think breaching into another company's or anybody's computer, whether it's servers or an individual's PC, would pretty much, that makes a lot of sense that that's misuse. Yeah. So I mean, it's probably still a bit of a gray area. You could probably get away with wording around that, which I think you were sort of getting at there, Ham. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, there might be a way to get around that where you're actually not misusing the computer, but however what you did was wrong, so illegal for that company. So yeah, I kind of see where you're going with that, and that's up to the lawyers. I'm not a lawyer, so they can go through that jargon, but it'll be interesting to see if anything else develops from this further, whether he goes to prison, whether he gets a huge fine, or whether he gets employment out of it.
Yeah.
Who knows? Interesting.
I mean, I think he's going to get employment out of it, because I always find it interesting when they're like, this person shall not be named. And it's like, why? Why doesn't he? Why don't you want him to be named? Do you think, I mean, do you think somebody at Rockstar is going to like threaten his life or something like that? Is it because of that? Or is it because you don't want to later on say, we hired at Microsoft the guy that hacked GTA? like, because that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it could be, or it could be because he's still 17, he's under 18. Maybe it's a fact that he's technically underage still, that they can't release that information. But you're right, like and it could hurt his future chances of employment at a big corporation like that.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know. But yeah, there'd be reasons around that for sure.
Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Ham Solo with us this week as an amazing special guest. So glad you could join us. But
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. David Cohen has said, what do we think about the Series X? I own one. I would like to own a second one, but because I've got a Series S as well. I think the console's really, really good. I enjoy the performance. I enjoy the VRR 120 FPS. As long as your TV supports that, it's worth it. I'm just really happy with the console in general. Anyone else? Very quickly,
I've got two.
Question. Yeah, you've got two?
I've got two. I've got the launch edition and I've got the Halo.
Yeah, which
special
reminds
edition,
me, I need to take a trip over to Melbourne and like raid your house for the Halo edition.
I always like to tell people that because they're hard to get. So
well,
I like to rub it in people's faces. It's a great console. Yeah, definitely worth every cent to play. I might pick up a Series S though as well at some point in the next year or so, so I've got another console. But anyway,
I kind of want to upgrade my TV upstairs now so that when I get my next Series X, I can play anything I want up there. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
And Ham, what are your thoughts on the Series X? Yeah, meh, not worth it.
Out of the 17 or 18 different gaming consoles that I own,
damn, I only own 9.
I think you beat me by 1 or 2.
Damn.
I easily use my Series X miles more than any other console.
Yeah.
And it's just because of not just the current games, but older games and experiences that I could take from previous consoles and still have them within this console. Right now, I'm working on Gears 2, playing that game.
Nice.
Me and a buddy decided, hey, we're going to go through every single campaign of all the Gears because I've missed a couple of them. And he's missed a couple of them. And we're just like, we might as well start from the beginning and just go through them all. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And to be able to still do that kind of stuff where the other console, the PlayStation 5, which I adore that console but I feel like I only turn it on when I need to.
Yep.
And
Makes sense.
and it's because like I don't have very many experiences that followed in the past that lead up into that console. You don't have that the back compat stuff with that console. They have made a team for that, but they're late in the game with it. So that we're probably not going to see the fruits of that labor for quite some time. So the PlayStation 5 still has the ability to get me to it more than it is currently, but I don't see it beating out my Series X just because friends, family, past, and
Price.
future all lie in that console.
Yep. Ease of
Ha-
access.
Out of all your consoles, how many of them are plugged in? Because I just did a count. I've got 18 consoles, and but only three are plugged in. No, sorry, 4 of them are plugged in. I've got my 2 Series X's, I've got my PS4 Slim, and I've got my Switch plugged in.
I've got
Forgot about my Switches. That makes 20.
I've got 7 of mine plugged in.
You've got 7
forgot about
plugged
my
in
Switches.
at once?
Well, I've got like 3 upstairs and 4 downstairs plugged in.
Jeez.
So
Okay.
all of the consoles that I have plugged in is 15. I have 15 consoles plugged in. I have 9 of them on my CRT. I have
Nice.
and I have I want to say 5 or 6 of them plugged into my flat screen. And then in the front room and in my daughter's room, I have a couple other ones hooked up in there. So,
Damn.
yeah.
There you go.
The other ones that are hooked up in other rooms are just Switches and Xboxes.
Yep.
Damn.
Nice.
So I've got,
There
like,
you go. So we have, all 3 of us have multiple consoles that we own. Like mine go back to the SEGA days as well. So
I'm looking at my Dreamcast right now.
nice.
It has Dave Mirra BMX in it right now.
I've got my N64 with GoldenEye cartridge sitting in it.
That was like the best thing. I loved this Nintendo 64 so much.
Mine is Cruising World right now.
Nice.
Cruising World.
We always
There you
had
go.
like GoldenEye plugged in or put in, or we always had Ocarina of Time, and those are like sometimes Majora's Mask, but those are like the 2 games that were a constant on that console. Always playing those 2 games. Yeah.
My daughter literally only turns on Super Mario 64 just to pull on his face.
Yeah, fair enough. We used to do that and see who could make the weirdest looking faces with him. So I get that.
Boba
So
in the
much
chat
fun.
says the Switch isn't a console, just saying. Yes, it is. You can plug it in and dock it, and it works on a controller, just like a Series X controller called the Pro, and you can play it on a big screen. So yes,
It's
it
a
is.
hybrid Boba, you know.
It is a hybrid. It is.
Yeah.
He's being facetious, but still.
I know.
I know.
Boba,
He's just being an ass. Love
you know
Boba, though.
what?
He's a good
We're
guy.
gonna play some Halo eventually, and I'm just gonna kill the crap out of you. Yeah, it's fine. After you
not
finish
until they
killing
Me
me.
and Boba just got our ass kicked not that long ago on 2K. Me, Dealer, Boba, and my buddy Malix Games. We were all playing 2K, and we were getting washed because I kept forcing them to play on Hall of Fame. It was terrible.
There you go. Well, all right. Let's talk about the one topic that we're all really here to talk about, which is just that.
Why Elite's such a fraud?
Yes, yeah, that's next week's topic while Elite's on so he can hear us. I'm not here next week. Oh, what a sad face. I'm not going to be able to enjoy that topip. I better talk about it this week then.
What surgery are you getting done?
No, I'm going to Weta
Oh
Workshop.
my god.
Going to Weta Workshop.
We'll come up with something.
So I'm going to go look at all the Lord of the Rings stuff and see what I can't buy because I want to buy everything in that place because I'm a giant nerd. I'm going to WoW, like World of Wearable Arts. So they've got a show on, and also going to the Wellington Zoo. It's like a 7-hour drive from where I live, and so driving down because my dad can't fly at the moment. So it'll be a good time for me. But Google Stadia, guys, in reality. Google Stadia, yes, I know, no one's heard of this, and hence why it is now shutting down less than 4 years after launching. So it launched back in November of 2019, and now it is shutting down. Are you guys surprised by this? I wasn't
No.
surprised. I was very much not surprised, but as you are our guest, Ham, you want to lead us off on your thoughts about this and what you want to say about Google Stadia shutting down.
Goodbye.
Belt
Good
time.
riddance.
I'm kidding.
Farewell.
No,
Auf Wiedersehen.
but seriously, like Stadia, so it just never really got off the ground, in my opinion. And as I said earlier, it felt like a bastard child. It barely felt like they were really even teamed up with Google, even though it was Google,
Yeah.
It just felt like it was in a different household, and I'm just not surprised to see it go. I feel bad for the customers. I don't feel bad for Stadia, because they,
Invested time and money.
was it them or was it Luna that had the only game to get released and unreleased?
Luna? Was it Luna?
I don't remember.
I think Google as well, though. I feel like that is a thing.
But I know that they have, they had a studio. They pretty much as soon as they said that they were, done with the first party, I was like, their time is ticking.
Didn't they purchase the studio that did the Journey to the Savage Planet or whatever? Was that the studio that Google purchased? Let me know in the chat, guys. I can't remember.
But Ham, weren't they offering, when they first announced Stadia, they were offering like 8K or 4K 120 and all this stuff that they couldn't do?
Yep.
They offered all these different capabilities of the system that it just couldn't run, and everyone laughed at it from that point onwards.
I mean, nobody. I feel like, yeah, sure, they said that, but it fell on deaf ears because nobody even knew really what it was or cared to know. The only people that cared about it were the people that spent the money on it.
Yeah.
There was very few people that were thinking, I gotta get me one of these or something like that. Or there were a few people, but there wasn't like a drove of people that like, there was not group think behind it at all. Like when I'm like you've heard of a group of Nintendo fans complaining. You've heard of a group of Xbox or PlayStation fans complaining. Have you heard of a group of 3DO fans complaining?
Nope.
Have you heard?
Are there any 3DO fans around?
I mean, I like the 3DO, but I know damn well that it died because it sucked. And it was too expensive. But like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you don't hear a massive group of 3DO fans, just like you don't hear a massive group of Stadia fans because they didn't cultivate that. Yeah, sure, they might have a page where all of a few thousand people follow or care about, but they don't really have a following.
Nope.
And they never have. So like, and then on top of just we're going to get involved with this. And then it's like, that takes a lot of effort. We're actually not going to do that now. We don't want to do a studio anymore and have it first party. That just seems like a lot of work. While, Xbox and PlayStation are over here, not only are they curating their own studios, but they are purchasing new ones. While these companies are purchasing new studios, Google's offloading a studio.
Yep.
That and like I said just moments ago, that right there told me that this company is packing their bags. They're in the middle of packing their bags. I'm curious what they're going to do with that software and stuff like that at this point, though. Now, because I mean, I don't know if you guys are getting into that topic or whatnot.
No, that's however the topic unfolds and evolves, we will talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what it looks like because the way I look at Google, what they're doing with Stadia at this point is it seems like they're almost having a garage sale. It's like, we're done with this. We don't need it anymore. But if anybody finds this interesting, come holler.
Yep.
And I'm interested what's going to happen with that.
I am.
That's all I got to say though, for the most part.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing what happens to the actual technology that they've been using behind the system, whether or not where that goes and where they choose to put that in, because all of the Google Stadia team are being disbanded and put into other areas of the business and absolved that way. But for me, I'm also of that same opinion around, like, I didn't think that this was going to go anywhere. And you could definitely tell they weren't doubling down enough on it. They didn't have that killer IP. Like, when Xbox came into the market, they had Halo. And that was this massive, massive thing. And they ended up getting, like, Fable and some other good, solid IPs that were, like, cornerstone pieces to them that people were like, that's Xbox. And then they had all the third party jumping in there, and it became the shooter box, and, like, COD was on there and all of this other jazz. But they kind of really put a lot of time and effort and they didn't have a lot of money, but they did cultivate that enough, and it was successful enough that they could work on the 360 and successful enough again to do the Xbox One, and then they had to really double down because they had to relook at their place in the market and what was feasible, and so they had to diversify and go into, like, this where they're going into now, like cloud gaming and, like, Game Pass and all this other stuff. They're really challenging the market and what it means to do gaming traditionally in that industry. And they've doubled down, and they've got the support of Microsoft behind them. And I think you're 100% right. They didn't have the support of Google to actually make Stadia a proper competitor in that space and really push the cloud gaming market forward there, because their technology was really good. It is better than what's on Microsoft's side. And Microsoft's side will still continue to improve in that space, but they were ahead of the game, I feel like. And as a result, it's just interesting to kind of go, what's going to happen with that technology now? Are they going to continue to develop it? Are they going to offer that to other companies to be able to utilize its services? Who knows? But I really do feel for the people who invested in Stadia and put time and effort and loved the system and the program and all of that jazz. And I do say kudos to Google to coming out and saying, like, hey, there are refunds coming back. You don't have to return your equipment for this, and if you're, like, using Pro, then we're no longer going to be charging for it because it's ending in what, March? Is it March next year? I think that's the date it's ending. 2023. So they're making the right moves, because that was one of the biggest questions when it first got announced, was what happens if Google doesn't support it? Because Google is known for not, supporting, and we all kind of were like, I wouldn't really invest, knowing the fact that the likelihood of this sticking around for years to come is going to be minuscule, and we all saw the writing on the wall at the time. And I think that was really obvious for us as gamers. When you're trying to enter into an already very established market with some very heavy hitting competitors who are willing to spend the money, I think the biggest thing for Google Stadia was, like, Microsoft opening up their massive wallet and purchasing Bethesda and then purchasing Activision. Like, if you wanted to be in this market and you wanted to compete on the level that Sony, Nintendo, Steam, Epic, Microsoft are willing to compete, then you needed to open that wallet and be really 100% behind this arm of that you had. And Google wasn't there behind Stadia. Not in the way that would have seen Stadia be successful. And they weren't pushing it. They stopped showing up to events. It just was this sad child that no one talked about, and gamers just generally, like, sniggered at because they knew it wasn't a big thing, and kind of feel sad for Stadia and the people who kind of put up with it, put money into it, and, like, trusted in hopefully Google to do the right thing, which you shouldn't have trusted in, because they have a history of not doing the right thing when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, Ashtray, I've got lots of other things to say. What are your thoughts?
I actually wanted to step in real quick if you don't mind.
go.
Go for it.
Because David Cohen in the chat said something that just kind of sparked my interest a little bit. He said it might have been the misleading marketing for Google Stadia. Google Stadia, yeah, good Stadia was overhyped. So he's saying, like, you know, maybe it was overhyped. I'm guessing this of it that made it fail. And in my opinion, that is
A valid point.
maybe a piece of it, but I think the biggest piece of it is it's 2022 and the world isn't exactly ready for cloud gaming to be the primary way to game.
Nope.
The reason it works for Xbox is because it's a piece of the entree. It is not the
Supplements it.
entree.
Yeah.
If it was the entree for Xbox, Xbox would fall like a rock.
100%.
But Xbox has where your media, whether it's physical or digital, is gonna that's gonna be coming to cloud gaming. But they also have remote play. They have the consoles that you can play at home. They have you having the ability to play some of the games on PC. Some of them do have play anywhere, and then others you'd be able to play off of the Game Pass on PC, in which you can also remote play from your PC as well. So the versatility to me is what killed Stadia. It was not versatile. And then on top of that, it felt like a bastard child. So not being versatile and then not looking like you have backing is like just death.
To us hardcore games,
That's all I wanted to say.
It felt like crickets when they announced that for me. I was like, who is this for? Because you are right. Xbox with Microsoft, the way they've diversified themselves in the market and given so many abundance of choices, this cornucopia of choices for gamers around how you choose to play and where you choose to play and how you choose to access your games, physical, digital, or cloud, or anything like that, just makes it a very alluring and enticing idea to kind of go into that ecosystem and know that you get to choose game the way that you want to game. And Stadia was just like, no, this is one place to game, and like a lot of the features that they kind of announced weren't really fully what's the word for it? Like
Flushed out?
Yeah, fleshed out. And like, yeah. Ashtray, jump in. Come on.
Well, where was Stadia available to play? PC and mobile, yeah?
Yeah.
That's it. And I mean, like, I understand that that's a huge, you know, especially mobile and PC. You know, there's a lot out there, but PC gamers are going to play predominantly on PC, on physical hardware, because you're going to get better experience. You're going to get no latency or less latency. Playing through a cloud service, you're going to get that latency. Even if they dialed it in really well, like Xbox's xCloud has done actually quite well now, especially since the launch. So I understand that it's tweaks, but nothing will beat hardware. Until that day comes, it's not going to be the preferred method. In saying that, if you're on mobile, you've got to make sure you've got a good connection too, right?
Yep.
And exactly what you guys have both said. So I'm not going to rehash it all, but Ham, you said that that was their product. It's only a part of Xbox's offer. And Red, like you said, you know, it costs billions of dollars, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I know I'm going back here, but Xbox to join the console space back in 2001, that cost them billions of dollars then.
Yep.
It's going to cost, but that was developing a console and everything. I understand that. But these guys are doing tech in a different way, so it's still going to cost them billions of dollars to get into the industry. They should have had a 10-year plan, because it doesn't feel like they had one. They may have, but it didn't feel like they had a 10-year plan on what they needed to do in order to get into that space. But money is the huge thing. You've got to be willing as a multi-billion-dollar company to lose billions of dollars to enter the gaming space. And that's further to my point about Netflix. I don't think that they're going to get into the gaming space as we know it. It's going to be more of a mobile market, because it's going to be easier and a bit cheaper to do so. But yes, I don't think Stadia, they must have been bleeding money and not expecting it. Whereas that's a bit silly. they kind of kiboshed themselves from the start for having Fred Harrison run that department, because that guy has not got a good track record.
That's true.
Everything he's touched, it's gone to shit. You just have to look at his history with PlayStation, the PlayStation 3, the Xbox One. He was a part of that. It hasn't been good for him. So anything that he's been a part of has usually gone to shit. That might sound a bit unfair, but it just seems to be the way that it has gone for him. They shut down one of their internal development teams, last year?
Yep.
And that was a sort of a sign there as well,
Right
that
around
things
the
weren't
time,
going well.
Bethesda got announced for the acquisition, like that going through. It was right around the time that they kind of started to see the writing more so on the wall, and that they were starting to jump out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where they should have doubled down, if anything. If they wanted to be a part of this and they wanted to take the gaming industry serious, that's where they should have doubled down and gone, all right, well, let's beef this internal team up, and let's get some acquisitions of our own. Let's aim for some of the big boys and just throw some money out there to get them. Otherwise, you don't have a hope in hell.
Nope.
You don't have a chance in hell to survive. It's just
too
hard to get into.
Do you think, because you've seen this, I'm sure, and I'm hoping I'm not like speeding and getting through something that you were about to like mention, but maybe you were, but fuck it. I'm going to say it.
Just go for it.
Do you think Microsoft had anything to do or like are to blame at all?
Nope.
For any of this happening? Because if you go on Twitter, you don't have to go too far to see people saying it's because of acquisitions that Xbox is making is the reason that somebody like Google Stadia has called it quits. And to me, but before I let you get started, I just want to get out there that people need to quit looking at Google as if it's a mom and pop's company. It is not a mom and pop's company. They got crazy money at Google. You are using Google products daily. If you're watching this show, you're using a Google product.
Yep. But they weren't willing to spend that billions of dollars to stay there and to get those acquisitions. They just weren't willing to do it. And no, all you got to do is you see those tweets, just look at who's tweeting that out. Just look at the people tweeting that out.
Oh, and that'll give you already know what it is.
That'll give you your answer. That'll give you your answer. Because they have to play Microsoft. Microsoft's the bad guy with all these Sony fanboys.
Can I say Monopoly?
Satya Nadella said it himself. Xbox is third or fourth in the gaming industry. Sony's number one for now.
Yeah.
There's no monopoly. But no, those acquisitions, there's probably a certain part of it going, oh shit, how are we going to compete? But that's why I'm saying Google has billions and billions of dollars. You can't just let, Xbox is getting, ABK and all that kind of stuff. Instead of just going and throwing the towel in, well, do we want to be a part of this or don't we? If we do, we need to then go spend billions of dollars to make studios and acquire existing ones to compete. If we don't want to compete, we don't do that. And it's as simple as that. It's not their fault. Business is business. You can't blame your next door neighbor for having a really nice car.
Exactly. McDonald's doesn't care if another company makes a burger.
No.
Right?
As long as it's not their copy of
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just stay away from my place.
Exactly. Competition and business, it's all fair in love and war, as they say. But yeah, look, these narratives are always going to keep popping up just to make, put Xbox in a bad light. But no.
Well, they're bringing up that conversation point. And they're trying to bring up the conversation point to say, like, this is why Microsoft shouldn't be allowed to buy COD. Like, the ABK deal. Because now it's bad for competition. Look what happened to Google Stadia. No, Google Stadia happened to Google Stadia.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nothing to do with Microsoft. And that's the reality of the situation. if you're going to enter this market, you need to be willing to understand that you're going to have to spend a shit ton of money to stay relevant and give gamers a reason to use your system and your services. And it just, people were already established in their ecosystem, happy with what was offered by PlayStation, happy with what's offered by Nintendo, happy with what's offered by Xbox and PC and so on and so forth. You didn't give them a reason to very much so choose to predominantly game on your system or your services. Sorry, system, cloud. There was no incentive around that. If you're already happy as a gamer, willing to spend your money where you choose to spend it, until someone challenges you on that, you're not going to change your decision.
Well, what about this, Red and Ham? Where were these people when Sony killed off SEGA out of the console space?
What?
I bet you they were
don't bring that up.
applauding
They act like that doesn't exist. That never happened.
Oh, there you go. So they just turn a blind eye to that.
100%.
Where was the monopoly speak then? Where was all the controversy there?
Well, in my opinion, yeah, Sony killed off the rest of Sega.
Yep.
But in a way, Sega kind of killed Sega
Yeah.
because they
killed
couldn't
themselves,
even
yeah.
work together. They couldn't work
Sony just
together
did the
around
death
the
blow?
world. Yeah. Sony just gave them like fatality was already happened. They just came in and did their fatality and left. they had nothing to do with the actual fight. The fight was between Nintendo and Sega.
Yep.
After Sega, I'm gonna come out with 3 different consoles within one generation. That being the CDX, Sega CD, 32X, Genesis. That's all one time. That's all one generation. And then they go into the next generation saying, "Oh, here's a Saturn." Well, the Saturn is coming out just like a year after the 32X
And the Dreamcast
came out. So and then not that long later, then you're competing with Sony now with a Dreamcast, and it's like, oh my goodness, you guys effed up. You guys, you spent so much money on making all these different things that there was no focus. The developers, I'm sure, were just like, bro, what console do you want this one on? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, dude, they hurt themselves, but Sony came in with that. They came in like a car going through a house, pretty much. So the house was already, falling down and apart and whatnot, but that car completely destroyed the rest of what was standing.
Can I ask any of you guys, did any of you play Stadia?
No.
Nope.
Nope. Didn't care.
Anyone in the chat?
Yeah, anyone in the chat? Did anyone in the chat
I'm curious.
play Stadia? If you did, what were your thoughts? I'm just curious.
I do hear that the controller was actually pretty good, apparently.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that too as well, which is nice.
To me, it was just good. It was good in general. It just wasn't enough. Like, to me, like I said, that's a side. Their main piece was a side piece for Xbox. So, like, to me, that's not good. I mean,
They
you
need
asked
dedicated
my buddy
hardware.
Loke. You asked my buddy Loke, which he lives in Africa, right? He has internet. It's okay, but it's not good. It takes him like all day to download a game that's like 50 gigs or more. It takes him like literally the whole day to download a game. So maybe Stadia would work on his internet, but you got to look at it from the casual aspect. Loke isn't a casual gamer, but he looks at it like, yo, like, I don't think my internet can handle this. That's him, a person that games all the time. Imagine mass amounts of people that are not looking at how much data they got or how many, how good their internet is. They're just going to look at that and be like, oh, I have to be on the internet all day for this? Nah. It's a simple no.
Yeah.
I mean, online check-in is one thing for DRM, but it's another thing to have to rely on your internet. If your internet goes out for a second, the game that you were playing that was single player is done.
Yep.
That's terrible.
It
I don't
is.
think and that's why I always walked right by the Stadia. Every single time. I could have bought one for 10, 20 bucks. People were actually getting them for free. Stadia was handing that shit out, and people was like, "No, I'm good."
Oh, there's a sign right there, right? Damn. But that's the other thing, right? You brought up DRM, and I don't want to get into that, but even with that, if your internet goes out or your electricity goes out on Xbox, it doesn't matter. You can boot that up, and you'll be right where you left off because of quick resume.
Yep.
And maybe if Stadia had something like that, then that would be a bit of a saving grace. But there was no talk about it. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. It just felt like they wanted to do big things, and there wasn't really a strong enough plan behind it, or not even that. Even if there was a strong enough plan, consumers didn't really know what it was.
Yeah. I mean,
You know, and they didn't have that many games realistically on offer either.
And you had the sense of no ownership.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah. So there's a lot to be had, and saying that as well about no ownership is that's what a lot of people say about current gaming anyway.
Yeah.
If you buy digital, you don't really own it. It's a bit of a slippery slope, but I mean, you know, as long as you can play it, it shouldn't really matter too much. But I think we're done. I think we're done on that. Unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about, any other topics or anything. I'm actually pretty good.
Day planned. It's horrible weather, but I'm gonna go see someone that I really want to go and see. So,
ooh,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh snap! Well, don't let me stand in your way.
Oh shit!
No one's standing in my way. 100% not happening.
well, Ham, thanks for guesting. We've been on the show together. I think this is our third time now. First for Red.
Right.
It was good to actually finally get you guys on the show together at the same time.
I agree.
You know, Red.
Now we need to do a whole show together. That'd be fantastic.
Yes,
yeah,
indeed. Because I always like your takes. They're always level-headed and always, well, not always, but some, you know, come from a different angle to me, which is good. I like the way you approach topics and things like that. So, and it gives Red some time to breathe between words.
What are you talking about?
She loves to talk.
I love to talk. I have no idea what you're
Absolutely.
insinuating. Okay, I don't talk that much. Yeah, I talk a lot. I definitely talk a lot.
But it's all good. Everyone listening and watching the Gamers Initiative podcast with me, Ashtray Gaming, Red Dead Panda, Elite couldn't make it today. Undisclosed reasons, we'll let him explain next week. And but our special guest, Ham Solo, thanks for guesting with us. Where can people find you? What have you been playing? All that good stuff.
Okay, so as for what I've been playing, I started up Final Fantasy VII Remake because I've never played it before. I was playing that on my PS5. Never played that before. Decided to give it a try. Didn't even play the original one on the PlayStation because I just didn't like turn-based at all.
Fair enough.
So trying out that. I've also been playing some Blitz League on my 360. As for my Xbox, which I'm always on, 2K2023, I've been playing a lot of that. I started Tinykin yesterday. That's an interesting game.
Great game.
Great game.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. Sliding around on that piece of soap was pretty fun. And then it kind of gives you the Pikmin feeling.
Yeah.
When you're throwing all the like little animal things at stuff to pick up. But what else have I been playing? Been playing Halo with the wife because she doesn't play anything else. And I'm sure there's a few other things I've been playing, but I just can't remember off the top of my head, which I know I'm gonna want to. Oh yeah, Gears of War 2. I've been playing the hell of that with my boy Matt Likes Games. We're running from the first Gears to the last, so that's what we've been playing. But anyways, as for where you can find me, you can find me on TSWS Gaming. We're actually doing a rebrand right now, still keeping the name, but the way our channel each episode's going to look a lot different. I'm actually implementing some new stuff into that. So check that out, TSWS Gaming on YouTube. Go subscribe there. And if you would like to maybe even be on one of my shows, because I do interviews with all different types of people all around the world with gaming. And I'd love to have you two on at some point, separate, one at a time, because it's just a one-on-one.
I'm a lot by myself anyway, so yeah, you don't want us both.
She's not wrong.
Well, yeah, I'd love to, figure out where you guys started and how you got into gaming, how you got into podcasting, where do you think gaming's going? So I do a lot of those kind of interviews. As of recently, I had like the likes of Jerry Hook on, which he was one of the head designers for Halo Infinite. And he also worked on other Halos and Destiny as well.
Nice.
I've had John Lynn. I had Mr. John Linneman on as well. Super dope dude from Digital Foundry. And here in the next month, I'll be having Jez on. But I have a ton of other individuals that are on that I'm sure the people in the chat have heard of and have seen before. So if you want to figure out more about them, I highly recommend you go to that channel. And then on not YouTube, on Twitter, you can find me at HamSolo05 Gaming. That's it.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, Red, what have you been up to? What are you playing? What are you doing this weekend? And where can we find you?
I'm going to go see someone after this.
Ooh, you can hear it in your voice.
I know, right?
Yeah, and I mean,
special.
Yeah, I'm probably going to play more Halo as per usual. I'm obsessed with Halo Infinite. I don't know. I just like killing people.
Trash.
I mean, by people I mean destroying Infinite Umbra, because I'm a survivor and like definitely keeping Jedi Knight Peter in his place. Which is below me on the
scoreboard. You're throwing shade right now.
I
What's
always
going
throw
on?
shade at those two.
She's very competitive.
Yeah.
But can back it up.
I can back it up. And I'm gonna play some more Deathloop. Because I've just started that. I'm really enjoying it. I was looking at Slime Rancher, but now I know it's in preview. I probably won't until I know about achievements. So I might wait a little bit before I test that game out. I'm just trying to think. I get the next game I'm really looking forward to. That's like the one I really want to play is Plague Tales Innocence. Oh, Requiem. That's the next big game that I really want to play, and I can't wait for that to come out. That's coming out next month.
Nice.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter as per usual. I did not realize, Ham, that we weren't following each other. And I was like, why are we not following each other? And then I followed you. So, yeah, my bad. I thought we were following each other already.
Oh.
Just rookie move on my end. Such a bad move. But I'm just happy
it's all good.
to do a show with you for once.
I'm just as guilty as you.
Yep. And you can just find me hanging out with your ashtray and sometimes Elite trash talking, that sort of jazz. But yeah, what about you, Ashtray, before we head out?
Look, I'll play some more of the Proteus game. Ham, you should try it out. It's like a sort of similar to like an old school Doom game. It's actually really good with the controller. So playing through that, bit of fun. I don't know. I'll probably jump back into some Deathloop, definitely some Fortnite, and I like just to run around and do stuff in Slime Rancher too. So I'll continue to do that. There are plenty more games coming out soon, so there's just plenty to do at the moment, which is really, really cool. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on YouTube. I haven't made a video for a month, but my last video did really well. I really struggled to make videos because of time. I prefer to game over make a video. I'm also very lazy by nature. And I know how much effort's got to go into making a video. So I kind of then cringe and go, oh, do I want to spend, the next 4 hours making a video or not? And I'm like, nah, I prefer to game. Yeah. So I'll have to be better with my time because I'm not very good with that. But gaming always takes precedence over anything else. Except, obviously family and kids are in there somewhere. But
Yep.
I'm usually here nearly every Saturday morning. Well, Saturday my time. Next week it'll be 8 a.m. my time because daylight savings kicks in tonight or tomorrow morning 3 a.m. So we lose an hour as well. But thanks for having me. A part of my show. I mean, Elite's show. I mean, Red's show. But it's been fun,
button.
and I'm going to get the hell out of here.
Hit that like button, sub, share, put a comment in the chat. If you think Elite's a fraud, definitely put a comment in the chat. He will appreciate it because we have to troll him every second of his life. And thank you all so much for joining us. As usual, every week, you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and maybe head on over to the Xbox Infinite podcast after this if you've got nothing else to do. They're a really cool bunch, and I like trolling them as well.
Go support Umbra and Pete.
Yeah,
and
but
the
not
guys.
Risk It. Limp Bizkit.
But not Risk It.
No, don't support
Yeah,
Risk It. Yeah. All right, we're out of here. Bye, guys.
See yous.